Welcome to Lesson 1A. The title is Data for Life. This class is a community of learners. We are to have shared goals, and when we do, it strengthens our community. Our shared goal for this course is to maximize the learning experience for everyone. It makes it a little difficult being an online course, but there are still going to be items that can bring us together. One of those is that we're going to begin by working together to collect data that's going to be used or organized and used in later lessons. Please understand that this data will be used anonymously. I will know the data, but I will report the data out as anonymous pieces when we need them in various lessons. This really helps the lessons to be relevant. So we'll be collecting the data starting today. This is going to be one of the two things you need to send to me by this Friday's deadline. At the end of this paragraph, it says we'll also reflect on activities that influence our learning. Question number 1 asks us to complete question 1 on the data recording sheet. In your in-class notebook, either you have downloaded this or printed it, or you bought it with a bundle in our bookstore. But on this sheet that is included in your information, you're asked to complete the following information on part 1. But I do want to point out a couple of things before you get started. On the height, do note that they want it to be as a decimal in feet and inches. In other words, we're going to take our feet in inches and convert it over to just feet. So if someone is 5 feet 6 inches, they're going to need to write 5 feet 6 over 12, which converts it over to the inches, and that would be 5 1/2 feet, or 5.5 feet. Do not just change it over like 5 feet 7 inches. Don't convert it to like 5.7. That would be incorrect. This one would be 5 7/12. And then when you divide this on your calculator, that's where they're getting the 5 5/8, or 5.58, which is 5 58/100 feet. In other words, you're going to take your feet in inches, get everybody into feet. Make sure you do that so we're getting accurate data. I also want to note that this says number of hours per week, per week, per week. And these are going to be your best guess. There's no judgment, just your best guess on what you are or where you are with this information. These were in hours, but this one is in cups. How many cups of water do you think you consume in a day? And a regular bottle of water, like I'm looking at mine right now, it says 16 fluid ounces, just one you would get in a big case, and that would be 2 cups. So remember, 1 cup is 8 ounces. So think through, in about one day, how many cups of water do you consume, and then the number of hours per week that you commute to work in college. So hit pause on this recording, go complete this information, and then come back and we'll be looking at the objectives. So every lesson, I will point out the objectives for the lesson. And it's like whenever you've heard a speech, you're supposed to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That's kind of what this is. We look at the objectives before we get started. You can underline what I underline. You can underline what makes most sense to you, but you're just trying to frame your brain to see what we're about to talk about in this lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to understand that data can be collected from many real-life sources, starting with us, and it can be used for future mathematical study. It's really fun, neat, cool how this works out in our class, how we get to use real-life relevant data in our course. Analysis of data can provide information to help make decisions about positive changes in your study habits and in your lives. Working together builds a positive learning community. You're going to be able to collect data from your own data life and work positively in a group to make a decision. Now, this group and learning community are a little bit more difficult in an online situation. I will mention, and we will have several ways that you can connect up with other members of the class or to connect up, and I'll get into those later. The first one I'll mention is to meet at our tutoring center or any of our tutoring centers, and you can even form small study groups there. Another thing this semester I will remind you often is that you should start a glossary page. Maybe set aside 3 or 4 pages in your notebook where you can write down ideas and concepts as we go through them. You want to make them in your own words. You want to have all of the specific parts there. You want to make it real. You might want to use sticky notes turn it on the side so it sticks out, or some tabs whenever we go through words. You might want to start some flashcards right now. And one of those words is going to happen in this question number 2. It says, let's look at question 2 on the data recording sheet. You just completed question 1, but now they want us to look at optional categories. It says we need to narrow it down and then to rate the categories, putting them in order from most likely to affect your ability to learn, number 1, and that can be positively or negatively, to least likely to impact your learning as a number 9. And again, that could be positively or negatively. Do not fill in the last column. I want you to go ahead and hit pause and go ahead and rank the categories 1 through 9. The part that we're going to miss out as a community is that we're not going to be able to actually demonstrate consensus like we can in the classroom. But go ahead and rank 1 through 9 and then come back and we'll talk about the 3 that most likely come up in class, and we'll see where you would have fallen on a consensus. So what it's asking you to do, it's to number your choices. Like you might put that this is number 9 on your list, and number 1 is going to be that you have a large family and preparing meals takes away a lot of time, or maybe your technology use, but you're numbering 1 through 9 on what you believe are your personal pieces that are going to impact your learning. What they're asking us to do next is to come to a consensus. We are not in small groups, so you're not going to be able to do this. So think about a time when you have come to a consensus, or think about sometimes when you think maybe consensus would have served you better. But you need to know this vocabulary word, that a consensus is an agreement. It's not an actual vote. When it mentions that sometimes when we vote, people win, others lose, but with a consensus, the group comes to an agreement that everyone can support. Maybe not all excited about it, but they can go with it. So then it would ask us, or it asks us that if we were in a class to go ahead and discuss with our group and come to a consensus to actually practice getting a top 3 choices, and then how did your group make your choices and how did you reach a consensus? So go to that data recording sheet and go look with me at the whole of question 2. So back at looking at this question 2, what's going to happen in all likelihood in all of my classes is that these 3, technology, the number of hours of work, and the number of hours of sleep, rise to the top every semester. So what I'm going to need you to do is to think, would you have gone with that? Would you not? Would this have really been one you would have wanted to be in your top 3? But when you look at these 3, one of the next questions is going to ask for you to complete these 3. It's going to say the ones you completed in a consensus in your group, but I'm saying go ahead and use these 3. You are not going to complete these. You're only going to complete these 3, the one for technology, work, and sleep. Please note, these are per week. And notice how it says on the technology, it's TV, email, video games, texting, and Facebook. It doesn't mention music. Do take a minute to go ahead and jot down that if you were in a group, or if you have been in a group, how would you think you would have made your choices? Paper, rock, scissors, or just conversation, people swaying others, or just a general agreement, or head nods? Or do you think some people would have run away with their 3 and pushing through? What kind of experiences have you had with trying to reach just a consensus? Again, memorizing it's an agreement, not a vote. So as you finish question 4, do get in a good habit of writing information down and practice good writing skills. Not writing whole paragraphs, but good sentences that are concise and that are impactful. Question number 5, as we begin the course and create a positive learning environment, let's reflect on activities that can positively affect your ability to learn. List 3 activities that would be or would have a positive effect on your learning in this class. Number 6 says, now look on activities that could negatively impact your learning in this class and write those 3 down. I really do want you to hit pause and think, what are 3 things in your world that are good for you and your learning? And then on number 6, write down 3 things that are negative for you and can impact your learning. Hit pause, write those 6 things down, and then come back and we'll finish up with questions 7 and 8. So do take a moment on question 7 to list 1 action that you could take to minimize the negative effects on your learning. So look at these right here. Whatever they are, what is some action step that you can do right now this week? If the negative part is a job and the hours, can you ask for lesser hours this semester? Maybe that's not possible because of finances. Whatever it might be here, I can't even start to guess what these are for you, but you're seeing the 3 that you wrote down. And start right now thinking of 1 action that you can take to minimize these effects. It could be that you ask people for help. It could be that you get really creative. For me, I was a single mom the last time I went back to school. I know it may sound crazy, but I would get coupons for Chuck E. Cheese's, and I would go there with my daughter, and she would run around. I'd give her 10 coins. She'd run around, have fun, and that would give me time to study, underline, and look. I could block out all that noise, but it would give me a good 3 hours of study time where she was still having fun. I was getting some stuff done. And so mine was time. Time as an employee, time as a parent. I just needed time. So that was my way to get some time built back in the day. Think about some things that you could do for whatever your things are here that right now you can set up the semester in a positive way and reduce those negative effects. All throughout the semester, I will stress that the list of assignments I send to you through the announcements in my math lab, that you take that list, you print it, and you keep it with you in your notebook, and you cross off each thing that you accomplish to make sure that you have completed everything by the time Friday at 11:59 p.m. rolls around. 2 of those things, in addition to the homework, are happening this lesson. 1 is this question number 8. You're going to need to upload it to my email. The other is that data recording sheet that we did earlier in the lesson. It's also going to need to be uploaded to my email. And when I say uploaded, you're going to email it to me. I have talked to you in the directions about how to scan information. You can get a free item on your, if you have a smartphone, called Cam Scanner. And I would ask that you use the batch upload. That means all you have to do is upload 1 time. You take pictures of everything, and then you can send it up as 1 document. So in addition to the data recording sheet that you have completed, I also need to have your daily water consumption data recording table. And I'm going to need you to guess on this to the best of your ability. I would like for you to start at this being a Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I would ask that you would put down your typical consumption. If your workout days are on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, your water intake is probably going to be a lot more elevated than the other days of the week. So whatever your typical week looks like, I would like you to write in the number of cups of water consumed per day. Then you can take a scan of this and a scan with your data recording sheets and upload those or attach them, send them to my email. My email address is in that assignment list I keep mentioning, which is in my math lab on the announcements page. So you would do something like and remember, a cup is 8 ounces. So maybe on Sundays, I drink 2 cups of water. But on Mondays, I'm at school and I'm better at water and I drink 4 cups of water. Then maybe I tank on Tuesdays and man, it's really bad on Wednesdays, but then I feel guilty and I start drinking more on the next day. Whatever it is, write down your 10 days, and I'm asking you to treat it like a Sunday to begin with, and then you end on a Tuesday, and email those to me. This completes, yay, our first lesson together. You really need to go look at that assignment list inside the announcements. I would print it. I would mark off as you complete the items, 2 of them being that you're going to email the data recording sheet and this daily water consumption data recording table to me by this Friday at 11:59 p.m. Have a great semester. Congratulations on finishing your first lesson. Look at your syllabus calendar and see how many more lessons you need to do. Bye-bye.